can go back to some of them. My topic is about nudging lifestyle through crowdsourcing and persuasive technology, and the source of the presentation is a technical report of the GRC that you can find and download if you're interested. We have a tsunami of poor health who is hitting our shores on both sides of the Atlantic, and this is measured, for instance, by the increase in obesity. And we need to do something to study the phenomenon to change the behavior. Now, looking at some innovative and scattered initiative, what we are proposing is three things. Community-based crowdsourcing of high-yield data, activity, consumption of food, and some minor elements, living epidemiology. Researchers are granted access to this data and do a real-time analysis to identify the co-occurrence of benign and malign data. And then individuals are nudged through persuasive technology that embed the insight of behavioral studies to convince and help change behavior using the non-rational side of it. If you say to everybody you have to change your eating style, it's like saying nobody. You have to say send individual message to each individual. The idea is that with ICT and crowdsource in health, but in any other domain, we can move to a new scientific paradigm. Data-intensive is science. It's going back to the future in the sense that we go back to a heuristic induction of information from a very large amount of data. When the number of samples is huge, we can forget about the statistical representativity and use large amount of data to fund the haystack, the needle in the haystack. This is the idea. With crowdsourced data from individuals, if we solve the privacy and security and data protection issue, researchers would have an incredible amount of data available in real time in much shorter time than the cohort study and the randomized control trial. Now, I cannot show you this video because there's a question of a password, but there is being this framing Earth study. They follow 12,000 people across 30 years and 3 generations, and they demonstrated that obesity is a network-built phenomenon. If you have a friend who is obese, you have 57% higher chance of becoming obese. How does this happen? It happens through direct influence and through changing the norm of acceptability. People anchor their benchmark to their friends, and the benchmark of BMI grows higher. So there is a lot that can be done, and Barabasi, the famous Hungarian mathematician, talks about a 3-network medicine: social network, the disease network, and the metabolic network. So if you are able to study a network, a social network, and if you're able to find the nodes, the influential nodes, then you only need, as a policymaker, to try to nudge a few people to have a cascade effect. Now, one of the questions, and I close here, that we were given is what kind of research should we do to understand, to bring evidence about how online community can shape changes and how to test the effectiveness of policy. Well, we are trying to build at IPTS this idea of a Web 2.0 infovalence behavioral experiment. You can follow for 3 months tens of thousands of posts in patients like me, Facebook and Twitter, through software. And then you can analyze this by password or hashtag. So you analyze all the posts talking about obesity and lifestyle. And you see what is the flow of information, what is the influential sources of information, and you get the first understanding. Then, next, you can steer. You can do an experiment. You can steer the discussion and see a potential policy measure. You say, see how would be the reaction. Or you can test ex post an educational campaign. Then you go back to your sample of bloggers and you analyze what is the influence. Because social networks are extremely important. Social networks shape behavior, and social networks are increasingly formed and lived online. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Especially, if I may say,